Welcome back, everybody, to the RacePlazaMedia podcast, episode 20. My name is Milan,
My name is Pia.
and today we're going to talk about something that we haven't watched at all, ever, I think, and we've never talked about it on the pod either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we're big AMA Supercross fans.
Correct.
So we watch that part of the season.
Correct.
But typically by the time they go outside to pro motocross,
Uh-huh.
we're either fatigued, have a little Supercross, motocross fatigue, or by that time, usually we also have F1, MotoGP, World Endurance Championship. All of these other things are then also in season. So that's why we don't usually have the time, or we don't make the time for it, just because it's also long.
Correct. So that goes into what we watched this weekend, which is pro motocross.
Yes.
So it was really, really awesome, actually, to go back into that.
Yes.
Watch or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, because it's been several months now since we watched the guys. I mean, because we're familiar with most of the guys on the grid. So it's really fun to kind of go back to it. It was also interesting to watch more of the pro motocross, because I remember I watched it once partially.
Okay.
But I mean, it is a big commitment because they have 2 motos per category, and each moto is like 25 minutes long. I think it is 20 to 25 minutes long, which it is a big time commitment.
So yeah, so that's essentially, you have about 2 hours of racing to watch. The cool thing is it does happen on a Saturday.
Yes.
Which I'm entirely grateful for, because sometimes I'm like, it can make it difficult for us to watch as much racing as we would like, or as we can, and then record the podcast to be ready for Monday.
Yes.
It can be very difficult, just because like everyone is, racing on Sundays, and I get it. Most people, or most people are off on Sundays, or a lot of people are, especially around the world. In the US, it can be tricky, but so it is nice that there's a Saturday championship that you can then also make up watching a race maybe on Sunday.
Yeah, and I thought it was really fun. I got really excited watching again, or it just showed again why I enjoy Supercross so much. And I also appreciate it. Like, this track was fun. It was also, I mean, of course, it's much longer than any super.
That's what I really loved about it.
Yeah. So it's nice that it's a longer track. They had this really cool, I think they called it the Godzilla climb or jump or something like that, where they go uphill, and then by the time they're up top, they get some air, and it goes immediately into this tight right-hand corner. And I thought it was so fun, and it just got me like excited about the sport again. Of course, also seeing all the familiar faces and seeing a lot of those familiar faces competing at the top again. Of course, we're almost at the end of the pro motocross season already.
Correct.
So there was already talks about who's going to take the overall championship. So in the 250, it's Hayden Deegan is the front runner. I mean, I think he's now leading by, going into this weekend, he was leading by 45 points. So now he's leading by even more.
I think Joe Shimoda is the one that's quote unquote giving him a run for his money, but not really, because obviously the gap is so big. But Joe has won 2 races, I think.
And then the big news this weekend also is that Hayden Deegan has officially signed to be a 450 SX rider for the next season. So that's something to look forward to if you are a Hayden Deegan fan.
Well, I think it will be interesting anyways, because like the last time we had quote unquote bigger names joining 450 SX was with Jed Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence, right? Coming from 250 and winning their respective category, West or East, division.
Yes,
that's what I was looking for. So, and then any other people that might have joined the 450, I have never been that familiar with.
Yeah.
So even though like Hayden Deegan is not the guy that I'll be, like support or like
supporting. I mean, you're not a fan of his.
He's not a fan of his. It will be cool to see a name that I recognize, and like obviously we know that he's a good rider, and he is like he's doing obviously really, really well. So it'll be interesting to see how much that translates to the 450, and especially because the 450 is so competitive. The front is so you have like veterans like Eli and even like Kenny and stuff like that racing, and then you have the newer quote unquote guys like Jed Lawrence, who is still really young, right? Jed is barely 20 or something.
I mean, he's in early 20s, I
early
think.
20s,
yeah.
right? So Deegan he's like in his late teens, right?
Is he not 20 yet?
I don't know. He looks like he.
I mean, I've no clue.
I thought he was like 18 or 19.
Could be. I mean, but I think you're right. It's going to be really interesting to see how he stacks up compared to the 450 guys that we're already familiar with. And then, yeah, you're right, because this is only our second season really watching Supercross. So last year, the couple people that made the transition, we weren't quite as familiar with. So then, so going into next season is going to be interesting to see how Deegan stacks up there. But then, I mean, both motos in both leagues or divisions or whatnot were really interesting. There was a lot of action that happened in between, lots of surprises, a couple of upsets. So it had everything I wanted for like that type of race. And I was nervous going into it because I was like, oh, these races are quite long, or it seems quite long for what I'm used to.
Yeah, of course, because like
for that type of racing,
Supercross is like, what is it? The 450 is 18 minutes plus two laps.
It's I mean, it's
way shorter.
It's shorter than this. So I was a little nervous, but time moved pretty quickly. There were moments where I was like, oh my gosh, so much has already happened. And it was like...
And then still 15 minminutes on the board, right?
Literally, exactly. And then there's other moments where it's like, oh my gosh, it's already almost over.
Yeah.
So it was a nice, just nice thing to really enjoy again. And one thing I also want to point out, what I really, really enjoyed was that they also showed Moto 2 of the women.
Yeah,
so,
that was awesome. Yes.
Yeah, so the MXW or WMX?
I think it's WMX. That's how it's showed on the screen.
Okay, gotcha, yes. So that was really interesting because they had a red flag immediately right at the start. So they had to do a restart.
Yeah.
But it was really cool just to see that because it sounds like it's a fairly newer division also to give the women such a bigger platform, which I love because I was already wondering because I'm sure there's women that are interested in this. You know, I don't think there's a sport. This is going to be a big statement, but I don't think there's a sport in the world where women are not interested in, that there's not a single woman interested in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's also this thing where now getting to see them race, you get to familiar with these racers, and it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if there's like a rule against one of them eventually maybe being in the 250 and then 450. I don't know what the rules are around it because obviously we're not that familiar with it. But it's cool to see that they're getting that platform because I think they mentioned in the broadcast that there were a bunch of female riders, and then they were like, well, after this, I think it was like maybe when they graduate out of being like teens and stuff like that, they were like, well, where do we go from here? Right? Is this where our career ends? Right? And then they made this, and I think we absolutely live in a day and age where women's sport has become so much more popular, and it's definitely also a lot of people are investing into women's sport because it is a huge moneymaker, because this is 50% of the population that you're essentially...
You can't tell me that women's sport doesn't make money and nobody wants to watch it. You just have to give them a platform. People will watch it. People will invest. People will buy jerseys. People will buy merch.
I mean, look at the Iron Dames, right? The Iron Dames is one of the most popular team on the WEC, right?
The most recognizable, yes.
Yeah, and it's not also because it's women, you know, it is because they're also super competitive. You know, they have won several times, right? It's just a matter of time until they win Le Mans. You know, the one time that they got really close to it, it was just unfortunate. They were leading the race for 12 hours. So it's more and more we'll see this, and this is just like, I think we're also in this day and age where because I think for the longest time it's like, well, if it doesn't make money, then we don't want it. But we're realizing that it can make a lot of money, right? We see this in the WNBA, right? And sometimes it is really this thing where you need a superstar, like you need someone like Caitlin Clark, who is like breaking records across genders, right? And that's bringing viewership in, and that's what you'll need. Of course, it's always the most amount of pressure on that person, which is very unfortunate. You know, it's the same thing like the next woman that will be in F1, right? It will be incredibly difficult for her. It will be easier for the women that come after, you know?
Yeah, but that's why we also have F1 Academy, which is gaining so much popularity.
Absolutely.
Completely off topic. There's the Rugby Women's World Cup coming up now
I'm
too,
so excited for
which
it.
I'm so stoked about. Yeah,
Because rugby is such a lit sport.
it's so insane.
And I genuinely enjoy watching it, and I also enjoyed the 7-people rugby that they do during the Olympics.
Oh, yes. Because, of course, Ilona Maher, the American rugby player, she got really famous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through TikTok, but also through her like
so.
body positivity and everything. So, yeah, huge supporter of that. Definitely tune into the Rugby World Cup. It has nothing to do with what we do, but we're going to still watch it.
Yeah, because rugby is honestly just awesome.
Yeah.
It's a cool sport.
Yeah, 100%. But going back to Pro Motocross, so we loved, and I was really surprised that the women were featured there. So I want to personally look into it and see if they're featured more frequently during the Pro Motocross season, since we're not usually the ones that tune into those races, to see if they... because I mean, obviously their season doesn't overlap for all of the races. So I wanted to see how much coverage there is, how much more behind the scenes is happening there, because I don't know about it. So I want to do some more looking into it.
Well, is it kind of like with like F1 Academy, they have certain races that they are joining the grid and stuff like that? So this is definitely something we'll learn and then we'll bring back to the podcast.
100%. Yes.
I will say, I think my big takeaway is the first thing that I noticed when I watched Pro Motocross, and again, this goes back to what we just said, it's like I was immediately excited that it felt like we always say this on the podcast, but it felt like a track. It felt like an actual track because it was longer. Whereas with Supercross, it's obviously always like
inside a stadium.
Stadium, something that is artificially made, and this is something that just exists out there. And so obviously because it is outdoor, you have way more space. But I also love the idea that there's so many people who attend, and then you're just there. Kind of, it's much closer because you're not in the stands.
Yeah, because people are there and they're like lawn chairs or like different.
Exactly. You can. I feel like it sounds like an awesome. I mean, this specific race seemed like it was too hot for me.
Oh yeah, it seemed insanely hot out there.
But like to just be out there with a bunch of friends, like grabbing a cooler, having some food and drinks. That just honestly sounds like a really good time.
I agree.
Sunscreen too.
Yes, protect yourselves. But yeah, it definitely sounds like a good time. I mean, there are a couple of those races typically throughout the season also in California. They're just a little bit further from us. I think at least like a 2 or more hour drive, which is not the end of the world.
Regular commute for Americans.
But yeah, so it's definitely something I would definitely be down to attend. I think also for like a family, it's just so fun. I mean, Supercross, when we attended it, was just already such a fun atmosphere. I do think that at Supercross, the viewing experience is probably easier and
100%.
or better, just because you also have those screens. When I was watching it, I didn't see screens. I wasn't paying attention as much to it.
I didn't see any either, but I wasn't paying attention to it either.
So
I think you probably get a view for wherever you are, which I think just goes hand in hand with any type of outdoor racing. You don't get in rally racing, right? Anything like that. You watch people race outdoors, you're gonna see at the corner that you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Which sometimes can also be like that when you're at a track.
No, of course. And I mean, that's part of the experience.
But this
then,
is something to be aware of. Like, is this something that is important to me?
No, exactly. 100%. But then it's also like, then you have the tents and the stalls there where you can shop things, where you can meet the riders and the teams potentially, where you can get your merch, where you have this whole atmosphere because everybody there is clearly excited about the sport, and you have the sounds and the smells, and those you just can't really recreate at home. The sound, maybe if you have a good sound system or bar at home.
But I just feel like you can get good sound, but there's no way you can imitate what is in real life because it's so it's like a wall of noises run at you. Which is cool, but I think if I would be going through like a weekend event, like if whenever we have the opportunity to attend, let's be real, like an F1 race, or even MotoGP, I would probably bring headphones after a while or some earplugs. Because I do think it's quite intense.
I feel like we learned that lesson, especially at the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Yeah, because it's
so incredibly loud. It's also the Long Beach Grand Prix was so contained.
Yeah.
On such a small footprint, because in Sonoma, I didn't feel that way.
No, not at all. Sonoma was awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely something to bring just to have on if needed.
Yeah. I think Sonoma was just also like for me as a viewer attendee, it was a better experience than Long Beach Grand Prix.
100%. And I think it will probably be a top experience for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with the smallness of it, but being able to sit wherever I want,
Yeah.
right? And I was at first surprised because we picked seats right from on the grandstand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, and then it was, or like there were no assigned seats. And
Yes.
I was like, oh, so I'm gonna have to post up
I know.
early in the morning. But it was like
a typical German, put your towels out.
put your towels out, you know. But it wasn't really like that at all. And but I loved it. I loved to know when it was so close to the drivers,
Yeah.
and then literally through the pits, not through the pits, but through the garages you could. And then if you can attend an event like that, please go to the practice, because the practice is the least attended event.
Yeah.
And it's probably the one where you get to talk to mechanics, potentially drivers. We sat in cars.
Literally cars that were on the track
The day
moments
after,
later.
yeah.
Or, like,
Moments after wasn't because of the track was damaged, remember?
oh, that's true.
They were going to go
It
out.
felt like moments after.
Moment could be long. It could be the whole night and then the next day.
But it's literally that we got to just chat with people. There was a guy that explained us the steering wheel, like all the information that's on there. I'm like, how cool is that? And as much as I love the Long Beach Grand Prix because you had a bigger variety of vehicle types.
100%. We got the F1 history cars.
Oh, that was so cool. And then also the Aston Martin, the Valkyrie. I think was the Valkyrie there already? Or
I don't think so.
I thought so.
Was it?
I thought so.
Life
because
is
it
a
had
blur.
the insane sound.
Well, I remember the GT Valkyrie also. Yeah. No.
No. It was the hypercar.
You're right.
But it was just, I mean, that was a whole other great experience.
Yeah. And honestly, Formula Drift is fucking lit.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's so good.
Especially if you get to experience it like we did right by the fence.
Where you literally get the rubber,
the debris
from
on you,
from the tire on you. I mean, I do recommend probably wearing a mask.
Yes.
Because like the stuff that you're breathing in cannot be good
Not
for you.
healthy. Not healthy at all.
Not at all.
Worth it 100%. Especially
100%.
for like the 30 minutes we were there or something.
But
you know?
next time I would have worn a mask, so at least I don't breathe it in.
Yes, or a bandana or something.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, I'm glad I watched Pro Motocross this weekend. I'm so excited for Supercross next season.
But I'm also open to watch it again actually next week.
Well, I think they're going on a break.
Well, there goes my, who knows what happens in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I don't know. They have at least one more race, but I don't know if it's coming right back or if they have a moment off. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to watching it. So I definitely had a good time. I did peek into very briefly Rally X this weekend because I did talk about it on What to Watch. And it's insane. The coverage of it is great.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I was shocked when I had opened it up. It was 6 hours.
Sorry, where did you watch it?
On YouTube.
Oh, lit.
It was for free on YouTube. Rally X, it was 6 hours or over 6 hours of coverage for just the Saturday. So that's qualifying sessions. And it sounded like they have 3 different categories. I have to do a little bit more research on Rally X because I don't know that much about it. But I just wanted to kind of experience it. And I have to say that they have 2 commentators that were commentating everything for those 6 hours. And it was, I mean, you could just tell how much they love the sport.
Yeah.
And it was also really sweet. They had a moment where they were saying that people sometimes come up to them and just say like, hi, and bring them like little things.
Oh,
So
that's
people
awesome.
had brought them like mugs and snacks and a gift for one of the commentators' dogs.
Oh, wow.
Which was so sweet. So it seems like a very tight-knit community.
That's awesome.
So I definitely want to look into it some more. This was the last race weekend of the year. Which is fine because now it got me excited for next year. So next year, as soon as it starts, I might want to tap into it and join it and learn a little bit more about it before going into it because the structure of it is a little bit, I mean, it's just every race type is different. So I just want to learn a little bit about it, but it was fun to watch just as is.
It is. And I think rally in general is probably one of the peak disciplines that are out there.
Yes.
Like if you watch rally drivers footage, it's absolutely insane.
Yes. I mean, rallycross is very different from it.
Oh, it is.
It is. Yeah. It's in a way that it is on, at least this race was a little bit more on a track. It was like a dirt track where they had to do a lot of drifting around corners and things like that. But I mean, not taking away anything from their driving skills, but it's definitely a difference between rallycross and then rally.
I guess because there's a cross in between, right?
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
where
it
the
seems
name
like
comes
it's
from.
like a crossover
But still, like
version.
rally racing is so insane. But okay, then let me ask you this: is it kind of like WRC where you're racing by time, or is it everyone out at once?
Well, this one, since I just watched a qualifying session, they always had, I think, 5 drivers lined up at once.
So this kind of reminds me then like a little bit of Andros e-trophy.
Maybe, yeah, that is probably a better comparison because I think they had about 5 drivers, and then they did like 3 laps, and then it was the next group. But this was qualifying sessions.
Okay.
So, like I said, I have to learn a little bit more about the structure, but it was really cool to just like peek into it. Also, just seeing that the coverage I thought it seemed amazing. Even if they had breaks, they still showed like racing. There wasn't a lot of like ads or stuff like that besides the YouTube ads. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't pay for YouTube.
And hey, listen, it's the only thing I watch. So
no, I think that's fair. But I'm definitely interested in looking into it next season more because I know we have 3 different categories. There's 3 different types of vehicles that compete. You have the little ones that kind of look like the sprinter vehicles from like World of Outlaws, those types of vehicles. Then the other 2 categories are more like regular cars. But of course, there's differences in specs and size and stuff like that. So that's what I want to learn a little bit more before I watch the first race next season.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. Also, if they have it on YouTube, I might just pop one on while falling, while in bed and like winding down for the day.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like...
It was very relaxing when I had it on.
That's the thing with racing sometimes. Sometimes, honestly, like this is going to sound crazy because racing can just be super exciting.
Yeah.
But if you also need something to just like wind down to, put on a race.
Yeah.
Any endurance race, especially because I think especially the sound can be very...
it's like a cozy game for video games.
Yeah.
It's like it's calming. It's because it's also very the same.
Yeah, it can be very calming, and you can just like let it wash over you.
Yeah, I wonder if you would say that to an actual racer, if they would find that insulting that you have their race on to wind down or fall asleep, or if they're like, what are their feelings about it? I tell it to a racer,
call me, I tell you to your face, bro. No, the reason why I think it's fine because I still, so for me, it's not a thing where I'm putting it on and then I will always fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's like I can have different intentions with it, and like I can watch the race and be fully engaged.
Yeah.
Or if I'm like, okay, you know what, I just want to use this to wind down. If you take offense to them, then sorry.
I mean, I was just curious what people would think about it because I mean, yes, I feel
honestly,
the same way.
If you would tell me you're putting on the RacePlazaMedia podcast to fall asleep to, I'd be like, that's great that you found something that helps you fall asleep.
Oh, 100%.
I'm happy for you.
Yes.
Even if that in a way means that my voice or our voices is putting you to sleep, but I'm glad that you found something that relaxes you.
Because falling asleep can be really difficult for many people. So whatever
and
floats your boat, it works. And if we can contribute to that, you're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
But okay, so the last thing, because we have a little something different prepared for the end of this podcast today. And that's why we will also upload a video podcast on Spotify this week, just so you can
video show. Which, if you're at this point already on Spotify, then you already know.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Fair. But then the last thing I just wanted to quickly touch on. So I watched this video on YouTube that was about F1 Cadillac. It was a whole video, like a 20-minute video about Cadillac joining the grid.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, let me watch this. Maybe like something interesting. After I watched the 20-minute video, I was like, okay, I don't know if I got much from this.
It was just like a bunch of words for 20 minutes?
Well, it was just a bunch of just reiterated information that if you're an F1 fan, you know most of these info.
Maybe if you're outside of the bubble or something like that.
Which makes sense. That works. But they were just talking about, of course, Cadillac joining and that it's a big deal. And then why is it a big deal for Cadillac? Also because General Motors is behind them.
Yeah.
They have a big history in motorsport already. So, I mean, they're coming with like guns blazing, want to do their best. And then, of course, there was discussions about who will potentially be the drivers, but nothing is clear yet. So
all speculations, but I do think Valtteri.
So their speculations was Checo and Valtteri.
So I know that there's also rumors of the F2 racer or driver that is American that's currently fighting for the Formula 2 championship. And it would obviously be kind of like, oh, you have an American driving for an American team. But in the end, I think the most important thing is for you to be successful and to have two seasoned drivers. It just makes sense because if we look at all the small teams, right? A lot of them moved away from having rookies, or if they have rookies, it's creating a lot of issues.
Yes.
And it would be better.
It's just more expensive often.
Well, and it's like if the American F2 driver comes to F1, then I would like it in a team that would be okay with him being a rookie. Kind of what's happening with Gabriel Bortoleto at Kick, where there was no expectations. And now he's doing so incredibly well, and he's really showing his colors because he is like Oscar Piastri, like... I think it's Nico Rosberg, and I think Lewis, one of the people who came to F3, won the championship, who came to F2, won the championship, and now is coming to F1, and now 3 seasons in, Piastri is fighting for the championship, right? Of course, he's also in a team that's giving him in a car. Imagine him in fucking Alpine.
Yeah.
We would never know maybe Oscar's potential because he's stuck in a tractor.
Yeah. It's so true. But then, so that's what they were saying also. It was Lawrence Barretto and James Hinchcliffe were the people being interviewed about it. And they were also saying they think it would be, the ideal situation would be Checo and Valtteri as their drivers. So the best, most recent number 2 drivers that we've had probably.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, a lot of experience. And then the great thing about having veterans on the grid too, especially in a new team, is they can provide the feedback. They can communicate it properly. You know, they have the skill in the car already, and then they can feel it and communicate to the team what needs to be changed so that development can continue. And then Hinchcliffe was pointing out that, like, yes, of course, Cadillac would want an American driver because they're also leaning much more into the Americanness.
There's probably going to be American flag.
Well, yeah, because he was saying that Haas doesn't quite do it as much.
No, not at all.
So Cadillac is already doing it, leading up to them joining the grid. So, but he says, and I think Lawrence was also backing him up, that the best thing would be for them to have Checo and Valtteri in the car and then have
the reserve driver
be an American so they can learn. And then when they're ready and when the car is hopefully also ready, then they would join on the grid. It's just, I don't think any of the American drivers, because they were also talking about Colton Herta, the Indy driver. Like, Indy and F1 is very different.
And traditionally, it has not worked out well.
Not that way. The other way, yes, but not that way. So it's like, give them a chance to work on the car and have that going, and then really prepare an American F1 driver to be ready for the car. Yeah. Because even... I mean, not much against Sargent. What's his name? Sargent? What was this?
Sargent?
Logan Sargent, that's what his name was. Yeah, but maybe he wasn't quite ready yet either, you know? I mean, he wasn't bad.
He did quite well in F2. It's just that, he, like, maybe he wasn't ready, and then you're also in a team that is also, like, really stressed about things all the time and stuff like that. So it was just a difficult time. And to be fair, not all drivers make it in F1,
and that's exactly the thing. Right? One, there's a huge step between F2 and F1. But then it's also, there's so many excellent F2 drivers that never get the opportunity, 100%. Which is heartbreaking. Yeah. I mean, they were also pointing out Felipe Drogovic. He is a reserve driver for Aston. He had won F2 also in, I think it was 22.
I mean, Aston Martin fumbled the bag on letting him drive the car.
Oh.
Because this year would have been when Lance had to step out.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you guys would have maybe talked and had better communication, then I don't know if this was also maybe a little bit planned by Lance, where it's like, don't ever let someone else sit in my seat so no one can see how good the potential is there, you know? Yeah. But that would have been like, hey, let the guy drive, right?
Yeah.
Let the guy race.
Because he was at an endurance race, and that's why he couldn't go in?
No. He would have raced at an endurance race. But then because Lance Stroll already had done, I think, practice or qualifying, he then couldn't because you already had the driver. So then
they had already done qualifying.
Exactly. So then you couldn't have that other driver step in, which just seems like a mistake. Like, then even if you're uncertain at that point, just let the guy drive, right? And that's easy to say, of course, on the outside.
Of course, 100%. But moving on. Are you ready to move on?
Just one more thing I was going to say. I also think that if you have Checo and Valtteri in the car for Cadillac, then you also have drivers that can drive results. You have drivers who can win races and be on the podium and in the top.
Yeah.
So that means most likely if the results are for both drivers are not there, then that means that there's something wrong with the car.
Yes.
Right? Because if you have two people in there or even just one person, then it's like it's a lot harder to gauge. But I would say if Checo, I know Checo got a lot of bad rep, but Checo and Valtteri are on the same level in a way, right? So it's like, come on, let the boys race.
Yeah. No, for sure. But now, moving on. Are you ready for